Today's goal is really to wrap up and share with you some final considerations in and around Dynamics 365's Business Central. So we'll start by highlighting some of the key components of BC, more of a refresher for you, and talk that through. And then we want to really get into the meat of this discussion and hit on the most relevant content for you, and that is, what are my choices? Where do I go? What does this all mean to me? And that me part is not just today, but then we'll wrap up and say, where do we go in the future? And how do we make our decisions? Is there some framework for making those decisions? So as Amber suggested, I absolutely welcome any questions that flow through. Amber will just jump in and we'll do our best to answer. If we don't have answers for you immediately, you can be certain that we'll get those answers for you. So I'd like to start by just recapping the platform. Dynamics 365 Business Central platform is really Microsoft's next generation cloud-based ERP application. It has its roots with Dynamics NAV, an application that has 165 global customers and nearly 3 million daily users. The idea here in emphasizing that is really that last sub-bullet point, and that is that the application offers feature parity on par with Dynamics NAV, an application that has tens of thousands of global customers, millions of daily users. It's an application that, while is new to the street, offers a great history and awesome functionality for you to consider. The solution is something that you can trial, and we encourage people to trial the system. We're more than happy to facilitate the trial process. Our client account managers will make the time to walk you through the system. Ultimately, this system can only be sourced from a cloud solution provider like Crestwood, but that's something that would happen after exploring the solution with you. It is cloud-based, as I mentioned, and with that comes auto updates twice a year. So call it 2 major releases from Microsoft. There is no more upgrade process that needs to be run by you. You can select your time and day for Microsoft to manage the upgrade for you, and they will do that. And that obviously eliminates the need for you and your team or participating Crestwood team members to manage the upgrade. There's no user limit, no company limit, no database size limit. And really what this speaks to is just the massive flexibility of this system. So do keep that in mind. The solution is sold or bought and sold on a subscription basis, either monthly or annual subscription, and it's on a per user or named user basis. And I'll touch on and do a quick refresh on pricing in a couple of slides. The other things that really kind of come with the cloud are uptime guarantees and backup confidence, and then ultimately what you're considering in Business Central is an app-centric solution, a solution that allows you to select the apps that are most relevant to you and deselect, if you will, the apps that are not important to you. The core functionality that we've walked through and shared with you is really functionality that, if you're coming from a GP or an SL perspective, functionality that should be familiar to you, at least in terminology. So financial management, GL, AP, AR, bank reconciliation, supply chain management, customer relationship management, jobs or project accounting, as we call it in the GPSL space, service management, and manufacturing. So what you see and what we have is really a solution that is truly ERP, and that is ERP wrapped underneath the Dynamics 365 umbrella. But what I think is really compelling and super powerful is that not only is it an ERP solution that offers the functionality we just talked about, but it's an ERP solution that's wrapped in all the functionality that Microsoft brings to its business users. So at the top of the world, or at least this screen, is Microsoft AppSource, which is a vehicle for creating and publishing Power App tools that allow you to put really the power of the ERP application into the hands of your day-to-day users or third-party app developers to create and publish those apps at AppSource available to you for download. On the left-hand side of the screen, we know that we have Office 365 as an integrating feature of Dynamics 365 Business Central. So much of the power in terms of Excel and Word and Exchange/Outlook are available to you in integrating fashion with Dynamics 365. I touched on a couple of points in the middle, but I'll just highlight a few others, and that is very traditional sales and customer service functionality is available through the Sales and Customer Service app within the Dynamics 365 space. The Field Service app is something that's also available to you natively under the Dynamics 365 space. Additionally, and this is where the solution really starts to become quite powerful, Microsoft Power BI, the Cortana Intelligence Suite, the Azure IoT, and on the bottom, Power Apps, Microsoft Flow, and the Common Data Model are all tools from Microsoft that can be used to complement your ERP system. So, for example, Microsoft Flow, that is a workflow engine that allows you to automate day-to-day, week-to-week processes. It's a great tool for you to, as an example, identify particular events within your ERP system and use Flow to notify people outside of the system. So, for example, maybe you are a customer sales manager or a sales manager who's very interested in the status of orders that are flowing through your system. However, those orders are come through in such volume that you really have to use some discretion, and maybe you apply a $10,000 limit to those orders that are most interesting to you. Instead of bothering your accounting department for the order status, or consuming a user license to understand the status of particular orders in your ERP system, in this case, Business Central, we can leverage the power of Microsoft Flow to automate workflows and automate notifications to you, the sales manager, on all sales orders that are created greater than $10,000. So that's an example of Microsoft Flow, that really complementary or ancillary technology from Microsoft to bear within Dynamics 365 Business Central. Quick refresh on the subscription and deployment fees, and really as we look at it, there are three major buckets of licensing. The first is your subscription that is sold on a per user basis, and so there is an essential and a premium user license. The essential, as you can see to the right midsection, provides a suite of functionality from invoicing all the way to distribution and workflow. If by chance you need service management and or manufacturing, that immediately puts you into the premium user subscription. Team members are able to also leverage much of the power in terms of reading and improving data, running reports, and leveraging some of the self-service functionality within Dynamics 365 Business Central on an $8 per user per month team member license. So that's really the first bucket that our clients need to consider when they're thinking about subscription and deployment fees, and that is the license fees that Microsoft requires. The second important pricing consideration is really about your ISV solutions, and I'll talk more about this in a few slides, but it's a real important consideration. Many of our clients are using things such as E1 Solutions, Macorma, Corporate Renaissance Group, Rockton Software, etc. These are all third parties that have built pieces of select functionality within Dynamics GP or Dynamics SL. Those ISV solutions need to be acknowledged and evaluated within Dynamics 365 Business Central. In some cases, they may not be available to you from the same partner. In other cases, they may not be available at all. But there is a cost associated with those ISV solutions, and that's something that needs to be factored into the evaluation. Finally, an important piece is the migration and setup services. This is not an upgrade to Business Central. It is a migration. There is configuration required. The beauty of Dynamics 365 Business Central from a migration and setup services perspective is that much of those tools, those steps have been automated through applications that allow us to configure very quickly, allow us to migrate data very quickly. But nonetheless, it's an important component in this discussion. So really three components, your BC Business Central subscription, whether that's Essential Premium or Team Member, any ISV solutions, and then migration and setup services from Crestwood. So all three of those are really important considerations as you evaluate the system, but at the same time, they're considerations that the Crestwood team can help you to think through and evaluate within the broader context. What I'd like to do on the next 4 or 5 slides is really talk about what your options are. I think that there's a terrific amount of marketing momentum in and around Dynamics 365 Business Central. And as you can tell, we as an organization are very excited about D365 Business Central. But the reality is that solution needs to be evaluated on a client-by-client basis within the context of their requirements and their ultimate business goals. And so from our perspective, we think you have 4 options. That is, number one, you can just leverage today's investment. That is Dynamics SL, Dynamics GP can be leveraged for a good long time. We'll talk about that and some of the pros and cons and some of the key considerations. The second option is that you can expand your platform, your GP platform today, your SL platform in the future, to the intelligent cloud, which is a solution from Microsoft. The third choice is to move to the Crestwood cloud if you're cloud ready. And then finally, you can migrate yourself to Business Central, migrate yourself with our help to Business Central, as I mentioned previous, and we'll talk a bit more in a moment. So your first option is really that you can leverage today's investment. You're running Dynamics GP, you're running Dynamics SL. You have the opportunity to stay on GP and stay on SL. You can focus on other priorities. We understand that all our clients have day jobs. They have clients to serve. They have vendors to support. The idea of migrating to a new ERP system may be daunting. And the fact of the matter is, in GP and SL, you have 2 rock-solid solutions that are fully functional and presumably meeting your needs today. And so from a solution perspective, we believe it's perfectly acceptable for you to remain on Dynamics GP or Dynamics SL. Some of the key considerations that we'd say to think about are the following. Number one, what's the remaining life of Dynamics GP or Dynamics SL? We continue to receive great commitment from Microsoft that these products will continue to be enhanced, supported, and upgraded. So it's a question that we continue to keep an eye on because we know there's massive momentum in the cloud and the platform that is Business Central. But at the same time, it's an important question to ask, and that is what's the remaining life of Dynamics GP and Dynamics SL. Second, really, to me, a positive to GP and SL is that there's talent to be found. If somebody were to leave your organization, the fact of the matter is that here in the U.S., these 2 products are run by over 50,000 companies around the U.S. So presumably there is talent that can be found to support your GP or SL system, either in-house or out-of-house. The third bullet is a really important point, and that is that there's an extensive and trusted ISV community. There's a partner community that have developed plug-in products for GP and SL that exists, that's ready-made to support your application. The fourth is that we believe we offer outstanding support. We know your system, we know your environment, we know your business priorities, and as a result, we're able to support your application. At the same time, it is a dated platform, that is GP or SL. It's important to step back and say, well, what are the competitive considerations in the digital era? Am I able to run my business successfully on a dated ERP platform? I think that's a very, very important consideration. Also, are we comfortable with the backups and the antivirus that we're getting with our current environment that is, presumably an on-premise GP or SL system? Obviously, backups and antivirus are part and parcel of cloud-based platforms today, and we encourage you to ask yourself if you're comfortable with those 2 elements relative to your current environment. And then ultimately, I think it's important to ask yourself, hey, am I ready? Am I able to leverage new technologies from Microsoft? Does it even make sense to our business? So those are really important considerations. Ultimately, we look at clients and we look at a handful of things when we say, hey, are they ready to move to a cloud-based application or not? And so if we see very complex Dynamics GP or Dynamics SL environments, our general recommendation at this point in time is that you're best to remain on GP or SL. And that complexity can take a variety of forms, but the reality is that the more complex your environment is in the form of customizations, integrations, extensive reports, all of those things factor into your SL or GP environment and would cause us pause relative to a migration to Business Central. The second consideration is, hey, do we have deep skills and knowledge in and around our GP or SL environment? Maybe people that are unwilling or unable to transition to a new system. If they are, then I think we need to pause and say, gosh, we've got a great investment here in GP and SL, and maybe this isn't the time for us to move. Finally, and generally speaking, if your organization is considering a transition, a sale of the business, a merge of the business, this may not be the right time to do anything but continue to leverage GP or SL. Option number two is an option from Microsoft that is really quite compelling, and that is you can run option one as we talked about. Leverage the investment that you have in place today, but leverage the intelligent cloud from Microsoft. And I'm going to take a moment and explain the intelligent cloud. I'll simplify it for purposes of our discussion, but really the intelligent cloud is nothing more than a Dynamics 365 Business Central instance that can be used as a destination for master records and balance information from Dynamics GP today and Dynamics SL in the future. So in other words, you can run your GP or SL system today, migrate and push through an integration that data, key pieces of data, into the intelligent cloud, into Dynamics 365 Business Central. Really, you have the best of both worlds, because once that data is there, you have the opportunity to take advantage of all those ancillary technologies that I talked about previously, things like Flow and Power BI, Power Apps. This is certainly an option. It's an option today for GP. It will be an option in the near future for SL. And I think that some of the key considerations is, hey, what's my appetite for advanced technologies? If I'm really excited about Power Apps, or if I'm really excited about Power BI, then this could be a good way for us to take advantage of those technologies. Maybe I'm averse to massive disruptions in my business. I don't have the time. We don't have the capacity to migrate, but we still want those technologies. This could be a great solution for you. Maybe you're just inclined to dip your toes into the whole thing. You know, you say, hey, we're not real keen on the cloud. We're not sure. Let's just run the intelligent cloud. We'll push some data to the cloud, get a feel for what it looks like, and we can test it out, so to speak, that way. Ultimately, what this all hinges on is whether or not you, as a profile, own or desire the Power Platform from Microsoft. Power BI, Flow, Apps, Power Apps, all of those tools are things that you can leverage when you run your data in the intelligent cloud. Your users would continue to run Dynamics SL or GP on premise, but you'd have the ability to leverage all of those tools available to you. Maybe you're just not positioned to take that big step. Maybe you're concerned about the cloud. This can be a real nice intermediate option for you, and it's one that we'd be interested in exploring. Option three, move to the Crestwood Cloud. This is certainly an opportunity for many of our clients. As it stands today, we have about 60 to 70 of our clients running their system from the Crestwood Cloud. This gives you the chance to retain your current Dynamics GP or Dynamics SL investment, but it allows you to abandon your hardware infrastructure. You can say, hey, we're ready for the cloud, but you know what, well, maybe we're not ready for a complete overhaul and a migration to Business Central. You can move to the Crestwood Cloud, receive backup confidence, receive antivirus confidence. You can receive monitoring resources from Crestwood. You'll have guaranteed uptimes, and at the same time, you can still use the solution that you know and love in Dynamics GP or Dynamics SL. So in terms of a profile, what we're seeing with our clients that are moving to the Crestwood Cloud, they're clients who say, hey, you know what, we believe in the cloud, we know it's real, we know it's the future. You're ready for the cloud. You're willing to upgrade to the current version of GP or SL. That's something that we really like to do before we move people to the cloud. And you're tired of managing your hardware and all of those costs associated, because of course it's not just about hardware, it's about your operating system and the Windows licenses to manage that server. It's about SQL Server and the licenses for SQL Server. It's about the team, that dedicated IT team, who's always in short supply, required to support that hardware. This is a great first step for you to move to the Crestwood Cloud. And as I said, we have about 60 to 70, 60 to 80 clients running the Crestwood Cloud today. I can tell you it's been the fastest growing area of our business over the last 18 months. And it's one that we find to be an awesome opportunity for our clients to really leverage their investment in GP and SL, but at the same time, take advantage of everything that the cloud has to offer. Option 4 is to migrate to Business Central. For our clients that are saying, you know what, we're done with this legacy platform. We're ready to leave it. We're ready to embrace Dynamics 365 Business Central and all that it has to offer. Some of the key considerations are, number one, are you cloud ready? Do you believe in the cloud? Are you comfortable with the cloud? Are you confident in the cloud? Number two, do you understand the proposition and what it has to offer? We talked at the front end about subscription licensing. We talked about the ancillary applications that are available for you. These are considerations that you need to make sure that you understand and you're comfortable taking advantage of. Perhaps you need more platform flexibility. Perhaps you're finding in GP or SL an environment that just doesn't offer the flexibility at a cost-effective rate to be able to manage on a day-to-day basis. At the same time, maybe you need stability in other areas of the business, and this is the first step to be able to achieve that. So all those things are important considerations. From our perspective, the profile of people that should pursue Business Central today are people that have relatively simple Dynamics SL or Dynamics GP environments. It's also those clients that have ISV solutions in place today that have a home in the future within Dynamics 365 Business Central. And this is one thing that I'd encourage you to leverage our account managers on, and that is ask our account managers to help you determine whether or not there's a home for your ISV solution. So for example, maybe you're using McCormick today. What's the McCormick, in air quotes, that lives within Business Central? Do I have a tool that can allow me to replicate the functionality that I received from McCormick? Important question to ask yourself as you consider Dynamics 365 Business Central. Number three, do I have the time to deploy? As I said earlier, this is not a plug-and-play solution. If I contrast it for a moment with the Crestwood Cloud, the Crestwood Cloud migration is a relatively simple, overnight, over-weekend process that really has very limited impact on your users. Contrast that with a migration to Business Central, there are real time commitments required of your users. And so it's important that you evaluate your internal resources and their ability to commit time to move to this awesome product in Business Central. And then finally, you have to ask yourself, are you ready to learn? Are you ready to learn a new system? Are you ready to learn about Power BI and Power Apps and Flow and all these awesome tools that are available to you within Dynamics 365 Business Central? So I'd like to just close by offering a few final notes. Number one, I'll say this is a personal decision. This is a decision that needs to be evaluated on a client-by-client basis. And for all the considerations that we just talked about on the previous slides, it's really important to understand that you lean on Crestwood and you really do a tight evaluation of your organization and lay that down against all of the information that's flowing out of Redmond, sharing the Dynamics 365 Business Central story. It's something that you as an individual organization need to evaluate. It's also important to understand this is a strategic decision. The reality is that we live in a digital world and that there are businesses that are winning today because they're embracing new technology. Failure to embrace new technology, we know, can result in you being left behind. It's very, very important that when you look at Business Central, you understand that this can be a strategic differentiator for your business. At the same time, it's okay to be patient. We don't need to run to the cloud. We don't need to run to Business Central. But the reality is you'll land in the cloud eventually. And that's the reality. That's absolutely the reality, and something that we all must accept. So finally, I'd say leverage Crestwood, lean on us for our knowledge, our expertise, our relationship with Microsoft, and make sure that you understand the implications of Dynamics 365 Business Central. We're really, really excited about all that it has to offer. We're really anxious to offer to our clients. At the same time, we know it's a personal decision that has strategic impacts. And we know that you need to be patient in your evaluation. We know that you're going to land in the cloud eventually, but we want you to lean on us for advice and perspective as you go through your decision-making process. Finally, I'd like to just offer a quick note, and that is, as you can see on this screen, we have a series of upcoming webinars. These are all Acumatica webinars, cloud-based ERP solution from Microsoft, or from Crestwood, not from Microsoft, from Acumatica that we sell and support. I thought I'd put this up here as an opportunity for you to be informed and aware of an alternative ERP solution. I think there's nothing better than contrast when considering something. So I would encourage you to sit in on these webinars as a way to educate yourself, to inform yourself about the alternatives that exist relative to Dynamics 365 Business Central if you are indeed considering that migration. So I'll pause, catch my breath, welcome any questions. Amber will facilitate. If there are none, we appreciate the time. We appreciate the commitment to Microsoft and to Crestwood, and look forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks for watching. To learn more about our products, visit www.crestwood.com. Hope to see you there soon.